Hey fellow designers, it's Karen of Made by Karen M. Today I'm going to be doing an overview of how I made this mermaid gown wedding dress with beaded lace, rhinestones, and tulle. Stay tuned. This was the last dress that I did before I finalized the details for my corset sewing course built-in bra method that I launched back in October. But the pattern that I drafted here was extremely similar with some changes. So I started off with the built-in bra as the foundation, and then I have princess seams to cover that. So I have the built-in bra foundation, a lining of princess seams, and then the outer fabric, which was satin basted together with this gorgeous beaded lace that I got from Etsy. And of course, since it is non-stretch, the pattern for the skirt is going to be much different than, your basic mermaid gown stretchy pattern. As you can see, there's a triangle at the top. That's your dart that helps the fabric curve around the butt. Of course, it wouldn't be a normal sewing project if I didn't have to waste a crazy amount of time fixing my serger. If y'all have any recommendations for good sergers, let me know, because I'm tired of buying another one every year. Here I am watching the Parkers and sewing my lining together. So you have 3 panels for the front top bodice. Those are your princess seams. You have a front skirt piece, and then you have 2 back panels and 2 back skirt pieces that have darts for that, curve around the butt and hip area. And this is what it ended up looking like. That's my princess seam bodice right there, the lining, the inside part. When I make corsets or build bras into my dresses, I actually go to a store that sells good bras and buy a commercial bra. That way, I know that it's going to be a good fit because that's the size that the client typically wears. This was a 38 triple D, and I found it at JCPenney. Lane Bryant is a really good place to find plus size bras. JCPenney is a good place to look as well. And if they're smaller sizes, I'll just go to Target. I really like their Maidenform brand. As you can see, I just cut the sides off and then I work with the front of the bra only. And as you can see, this built-in bra is the perfect foundation to go under these princess seams. It fits behind there perfectly. And here I am top stitching the bra on using a straight stitch and a very, very strong needle. I typically use a size 18 leather needle. That helps to make sure it doesn't break if I accidentally hit the wire or go through the boning. And again, I do have a full video course and pattern on Etsy on this method if you'd like to learn how to do it. So this is what I have. I got all the pieces cut out that have the satin and beaded fabric together, and then this is my lining, or I guess you would call it a muslin, but on the inside. So I put these safety pins here that I can use as corset loops since I don't have any there yet, and I just tacked a zipper in there. And on the inside I got this built-in bra thing. So basically I just need her to try it on so I can see how I need to adjust this area, and I probably am gonna have to make this shorter so it doesn't cut into her armpits. But that's what I have for today. And then I haven't cut the train yet either because I figure I'll wait till I make sure the bottom of the skirt is the right size. But this is the dress. Here's my bride at the first fitting. Everything fit good. I just had to make minor adjustments at the top of the princess seams. So that way I was able to also adjust it on my outer pieces of fabric before sewing it together. Since I was working with beaded fabric, I had to cut all the beads from the seams before I sewed it together to avoid breaking my needles or ruining my sewing machines. There's really no way around this. You can either cut them off one by one like I'm doing with manicure scissors, or you can take a hammer and beat them off until they break and fall off. But honestly, who wants to listen to all that noise? I just choose to use scissors. Here's what the dress looked like after I sewed all 4 layers together, and I'm going to explain in the next clip what all the layers are. So here's the dress turned inside out. So here's the dress turned inside out. This layer is the lining portion that I had my client try on at the fitting. And then basically I made whatever changes I needed to make to the pattern. And then I replicated on the outer fabric. So this is a layer of satin covered with a layer of beaded lace. Now on the inside of the dress is where I started with my foundation, which is, and I do this every time I do a corset, I go to the store and I buy a bra in the size that the client wears, and then I use that as a starting point to create my full corset bodice. Basically, I build a pattern around the bra based on a client's measurements. So that is the inside. I covered that with this layer, which, as you can see, it's princess seams. I have 2 strips of boning on each back panel, and then I have a strip of boning along the princess seams on the bust area. Additionally, after I sewed these 2 layers together, I added a 1-inch strip of horsehair, like so. And a friend of mine recommended to do this so that it would make the shape on the outside, once I turned the dress right side out, a little bit more crisp. And it did work. So what I'm doing now, flipping the dress right side out. So then we have this as the inside and this as the outside, and then I'm going to sew everything together. Then I will be adding grommets along each back piece. As you can see, this is a corset back, so I have the skirt portion coming out farther than, or wider than, the back piece, because there are going to be grommets here and it's going to be a lace-up corset. So that's what I have so far on this dress. Now, you can't just put grommets in plain thin fabric. So what I do is get this very, very thick interfacing. It's used in like handbags and things. So it's pretty thick and stiff. And I insert that into the edge of where I'm going to be inserting the grommets. And I'm just going to sew it down. It doesn't have to be ironed or anything. It's just a nice sew-in interfacing. So I'm pinning that there so that I can stabilize the dress and have, you know, more layers for the grommets to go into. That'll help them be more secure. So first I pinned the interfacing behind the top layer. Now I'm going back and pinning it so that the top and the bottom layers are sandwiched together, and then I'm going to straight stitch it. Now I'm using pins to mark how far apart I want my corset grommets to go, and then I'm taking an actual pin and making marks for where I'm going to make the holes. I'm going to be making the holes using my wood burning tool. This is like pretty cheap, $15 or so, I believe, at Walmart. It basically just burns a hole in your fabric. And I started off with these tiny holes, but I did have to go back and make them a little bit larger so the grommets would fit into them. If you've been using this tool for a while, be careful because it can leave burn marks. So just like go slow, take your time, and make sure that it's neat. This is what the grommets look like. My client specifically requested white ones, so I was not able to get them from Joann. I had to order them from a specialty site. I will try to remember and post a link in the description box if I'm able to. But basically, you put the grommet on top. You put the, I don't know what these things are called, but you put that underneath it. If you have a grommet press, that's great. But I ended up having to actually hammer mine with the little grommet tool because the grommet tool that I bought from Joann was for, I think, a 3/8 size. But since I had to order these white grommets from elsewhere, they didn't go with the grommet tool I got from Joann. So I basically had to hammer all of them. It was actually fun, but I did break a nail or two, so I will be ordering a better grommet press, but this is how it came out. So the dress was finally starting to look almost complete, but all this work and you're still nowhere near done because you still have to do the train and add some stones. I pinned these on one by one so I could see the layout of how they were going to look. And then I used my Gorilla Glue gun and hot Gorilla Glue sticks to hand place them one by one. This is a safe method. The glue holds very well and it is designed for fabric and fashion projects. The stones are very tiny, so I did use my tweezers to help me hand place them. And this is how it came out. Here I am using my circle skirt template to cut the knee hole for the train. I don't remember exactly how much fabric I bought. It was probably at least 5 to 6 yards of satin for the base. Hey guys, just stopping in with a little update on where I am with the dress. I might add some stones down here. I don't know. I gotta see what it looks like when it's like done, and then I'll decide. But I have the petticoat that I ordered from Amazon pinned down here. And I took out the hoop that's on this row. As you can see, there's like these like metal hoops on each of these rows that you can see. And it's not a full circle. It has like an opening, and then there's like some elastic here at the top, because this is really like a waist to floor petticoat. But I like the shape of it, so I chose to use this at the knee. So what I'm gonna do, I have this pinned here. You see, this is the opening. And I'm gonna cut this. So it'll be slightly shorter in the front and then slightly longer in the back, but like not too much. Like what's that, like 6 inches maybe? So I took that hoop out. I might take this one out, and then I might have to like stitch this down so it's a little bit more flat. And then I cut my satin out and I just sewed that together. So this is a circle skirt, 45 inches long. And then what else? Oh, I got my organza. Organza came from Design House Fabrics. I bought 14 yards. Hopefully that's enough. And I wasted my money because I ended up trashing all of that organza. I don't know why I even ordered it or why I even agreed to work with it, because I literally hate organza. It is so shiny and fake looking. So I ended up replacing it with tulle. But anyways, here I am wrestling with this ginormous petticoat. It's literally trying to eat me. And I'm attaching it to the bottom of my dress with my serger, just so that it can be secure. So yeah, that's the process of me attaching it. Here I am wasting my time with this organza. So to create the layered look that was on the bottom of the dress, I knew that I was going to need to sew horsehair into the edge of my material. And for whatever reason, I thought it was a smart idea to go with organza just because that was what it looked like on the picture. But as a designer, like, you have to trust your instinct and your aesthetic, and my aesthetic is just not organza. So I experimented with it and I took all of it off. Here's my bride at her second fitting, and we discussed switching over to tulle, which she was on board with. First thing I did after the fitting was flip that train over so that the dull side would be on the outside instead of the shiny side. It was just way too shiny for my liking. And here I am just adding some extra layers of tulle as the base before I start adding the layers. I actually brought my sewing machine over to my dress so I could work on creating the horsehair tulle and just have it near my dress so that I could kind of take breaks and pin it up to see what it was looking like. And also sometimes you just get burnt out sitting at the same desk all the time. So it never hurts to just get a little temporary desk and move and work somewhere else. Tulle is one of those materials where there's really just like no rhyme or reason, and you kind of just have to experiment with it over and over until what it looks like starts to make sense for what you're going for. I spent a lot of hours, like I lost track, and I would actually be embarrassed to tell y'all how many hours I spent pinning this tulle, unpinning it, and repinning it and just experimenting with it until it looked right. There's a lot of stepping back, looking at it, trying to figure out if it's good or not, and unpinning and repinning, and eventually you get it right and the dress is done. And FYI, I did hand sew down all of these layers of tulle. And at long last, after many hours and lots of exhaustion and a few tears, I finished the dress, and this was the outcome. And here is the bride taking home her dress. And this is her at her wedding. Now, this is the part that makes it all worth it because a wedding dress is arguably the most important garment a woman will ever wear. And I'm grateful every day for my gift of sewing and pattern making and fashion design and the fact that people trust me with such a huge aspect of the most important day of their life. I hope you guys enjoyed the behind the scenes of this dress, and I'll see y'all in the next video.